Welcome to Season 3 of Malevolent Autopsy. I'm your host, Queen. I use she, her pronouns, and I am so excited to be here with you all. Now, let me warn you, the show contains major spoilers for everything in Malevolent as of the day this episode is published, so if you're not caught up, I'm not liable. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to ask my lovely co-host, what part of Arthur's body are you betting on getting injured this week?
Howdy, hello, Vol Control here. I use he, him pronouns, and this week I'm betting on nothing. Arthur's going to make it out of this week totally of sound mind and body. He is going to be totally fine. You got this, Arthur.
Wow, that's a lot of faith and confidence.
Manifesting. I'm manifesting that Arthur's going to be okay.
I like that. I like that. Would you like to remind the public of what we just listened to?
As for this week's chapter, I'm choosing to focus on the good parts, and we'll just breeze over the end bit. So this week's chapter started with the illusion of choice being never more present than as we open the chapter with Arthur very nearly choosing to hold on and go back, despite the fact that Let Go won in the polls last week. But he does, in fact, let go and leap into the abyss. After his short walk off a long cliff, Arthur lands in a swamp. The swamp. He finds himself in the company of Antoine and Roderick once again, which Kane claims are not memories or illusions. But before Arthur can even do anything, Kane, ADHD king that he is, explodes Antoine and Roderick's heads and shifts the train of thought to those fateful words, "I should have never opened that damn book." He conjures up an illusion of what Arthur's life could be like. Christmas Eve with Ferrot, Oscar, Noel, Daniel, Marie. He tries to sweeten the deal by telling Artie the odds of his wager are better than a coin flip, and tells him that he could have all that and more if he'll just get him the last two items on his list, namely, finding the obelisk and killing the last Nyarlathotep. And then we get a full-on Arthur spit in the eye of God Lester moment. A classic fuck you, along with a, very interesting little speech about learning the meaning of the word no. Well done, Arthur. This chapter ends with what we all saw coming. Running water in a bathtub, reliving tragedy. Kane asks yet again, do we hold on or let go?
We all saw it coming, but I did point it out a long time ago, and I'm very pleased that it was true. I knew that it wouldn't have been mentioned if it wasn't going to come back, but it's still satisfying when you pick up on things that were left for you to pick up on.
Yeah, but I mean, when they walked into that bathroom, I did not think that we were going directly there. I thought it was going to be a little more of a, like, mystical scene illusion that Arthur was going to be like manifested into, dropped into, whatever. And I feel like the fact that it's like a literal bathroom like in the Larson mansion makes it that much more real in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was so funny. They walk in every time they mention walking into a bathroom, because it's happened a couple of times in Malevolent. I'm like, that's it. That's where we're going to get a horrible scene of a baby drowning
every
again
time?
or some shit. Every time. I swear to God. I'm like waiting for it to happen. And so whenever they mention that they're in a bathroom, I'm waiting for it to happen, and it finally did. I feel like I've finally been vindicated, but it's not really vindication when the narrative was so explicit about, like, by the way, there's a tub in here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. AK Trash Panda in the chat says, yeah, that Chekhov's bathroom is real. So true.
It's such a big part of Arthur's story ever since you, like, the first time you hear about it, that's like all you're waiting for, I feel like.
Yeah, in a way, especially the more that it applies to, or like the more that Arthur sort of like shares or reveals or remembers about that moment, yeah, the more it sort of ramps up as this, we're definitely gonna see this in the end game kind of thing.
God, and you know what? Like, there was a lot of talk about this chapter and in relation to the horror of it. And what I loved so much was that, and this isn't carrot or stick for a reason. So I'm putting it up front
Uh-huh.
here to have an excuse to talk about it. It is so true to life that the most mundane things become a horror as you experience them. Like, for anybody else listening to this out of context, yeah, of course it's terrible. The idea of somebody drowning in a bathtub of any age, but especially as a baby, is horrifying. That's terrible. But it means so much more to us because we've been through 6 seasons of dreading this moment. And that's how it is for Arthur. The sound of a running bathwater becomes a fucking nightmare, whereas to somebody else it's a relaxing Tuesday evening. Like, it's so good. It's such a good representation of how you can take something normal, mundane, every day and turn it into horror
Yeah.
with enough time and attention and build up. And I think Harlan's done really well at kind of like finally dropping this moment, because it really has been 6 seasons of leading up to this.
I mean, that's psychological horror for you. And you mentioning that the sound of the running bathwater is the horror trigger made me think about, isn't it in Intermezzo when Kane brings Arthur into a hallway and he can hear running bathwater and
Yeah.
Kane goes and turns it off? Ugh. Ugh.
Hmm. It's so fascinating to watch how something simple can become warped and twisted into somebody's personal hell through time, and for us to go through that with him, because I don't have any particularly strong feelings about drowning or like this scene happening to
Right.
me, but it has become a gut-wrenching sound. I was also breathless when Arthur realized what was happening, when I realized what was happening. Like, the way that horror transferred was so powerful.
Yeah, yeah, no. When I listened to this episode when it first dropped, I was like in shock at the end. I just
Yeah.
didn't even know how to start processing it. It was such a horrific moment that we all have been talking about, the child torture nexus. We've been talking about this for an entire season, for longer than that, but to have it finally happen was, yeah, it was intense.
And we'll get into this a little bit more when we talk about the vote for this week. But AK Trash Panda also says, I mean, Lilith straight up told us this was coming. We got in narrative warning. And I think it's so interesting what we were prepared
Right.
for. But I also think it's very fun that fun is a terrible word for it. I appreciated that Arthur's, first of all, the delivery of "don't
Oh
describe it"
man.
is so hard on
Chilling.
everybody. Everybody has
Chilling.
mentioned that
Yeah.
line. But in particular, I just want to say thank God for the narrative excuse to not describe that,
Agreed.
because I don't know that I could have kept
No, no,
listening.
no, 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 and I think that Harlan, despite the fact that he has done some pretty graphic child endangerment and child death in some of his other projects, I think that there is a sort of almost like a contract as far as what to expect in Malevolent content, as far as like how graphic
Hmm.
it's going to be about certain things. I mean, what, like, don't take me at my word there, like I could be totally wrong, but it kind of feels like we have a certain contract about like where the line is. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, I think over the years, Harlan has probably realized that Malevolent touches a lot more people than are used to being in the horror genre.
Yes.
Like me, I was never into horror before Malevolent. This is all very new for me. And so I think the tolerance level for horror and certain graphic
Mm-hmm.
experiences is a little bit different in Malevolent versus something like Divisor.
Yeah.
And I don't think that he's necessarily pulling punches. I just think it's kind of like realizing, okay, there's a story I want to tell here, and how well can I fit the kind of experiences that I want to give, and when does that outweigh the story? Like, we've all definitely heard of movies where, like, yeah, the story was good, but the amount of, I don't know, this is a poor example, but it's all I've got. When something is like overuses curse
Yeah.
words to the point where you're like, okay, I get it. You're a movie that's allowed to curse, and then it's just like you're kind of waiting to get through it. And I wonder if that's kind of how Malevolent, like, he wouldn't want to do that to
Yeah.
Malevolent.
Yeah. Yeah. But that said, I mean, that final moment, that final scene in this episode, it's so big, it's so important that it almost overshadows the rest of the episode, which is so
Yeah.
fucking good. Holy shit. This was
God.
such a fun
The whole rest of the
episode.
episode.
This was such a fun episode. Like, I have re-listened to it 3 times today, and one of those times I skipped the very last scene because I was like, all right, I know I'm gonna listen to this again, I can listen to it then. But oh man, I had so much fun listening to this, and it was so dense with like lines and exchanges, and just Kane being kind of
Banana
mysterious.
peel.
And
Corn
the pet
cob.
names go crazy this episode.
Guys, I don't usually point this shit out, but it's in canon. I can't not mention it. The man calls him Kitten. The man calls him Kitten. Okay?
I'm saying it goes
Harlan
crazy.
was writing a lot. There were decisions that were made, and I loved all of them.
I have to mention just one other thing. When Arthur starts going in on his badass, like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me speech, he shushes Kane and he says, it's my turn to talk. And I could just hear an alternate version where he says, Daddy's talking. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's all I'm gonna hear now.
Hey, you know what? Arthur Lester says daddy so many times. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
I wonder if there's a take where that was said, because that feels so appropriate now that you said it.
Am I wrong?
I can absolutely see Harlan going, you know what? There's too many pet names in this. I should cut one. I'll take out the daddy that Arthur says. Oh my God. Release the daddy cut. Harlan, release the daddy cut.
Okay, that was in my head.
Okay,
I had to get it out.
Yeah, anyway, shall we talk about our carrots and sticks? Because I see some tasty carrots on your plate, Vol.
Yes.
What was your carrot?
Okay, so my main carrot is when Kane says, everything I've done is honest. I am obsessed with an honest villain. A villain who comes by his villainy honestly. There's something so fascinating to me about someone who like has such conviction in his own worldview, his own perspective, that he doesn't lie to get his way. Like, you may not like what he does, but he comes by it honestly. I love that villain trope.
I do too. I loved how I said it before, I'll say it again. I am just so impressed that we keep getting more dimension to Kane.
Yes.
I really thought I was done. I thought I was done learning about Kane and understanding him with the wager. I feel like, okay, I get it now. But this just keeps peeling back more. He's so onion. He's so layered.
He's so layered. Yeah, this was really interesting, and I've seen some other people point out how much they love the way that Kane gets so like frustrated that Arthur still doesn't like understand his vision.
Oh,
it was so good. I love hearing those little breaks in Kane where he's just frustrated, and it's I don't want to say humanizing exactly, but it does show that like sort of nuance of his character and his personality.
Well, because we all know Kane's the bad guy, Kane's the villain. We've known that since day one. But like, it's still so important to see him as more than just a mustache twirling dude.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to be more than that, or else what's the point?
And even though he is the crawling chaos, it doesn't feel like his motivation is pure chaos in a way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think that Kane is he's that man. This flows into my carrot. I don't know if I should just wait.
We can do carrots first on both sides and then sticks.
Okay. Let's do it. So this flows into my carrot, which is I love a villain who thinks they're the underdog hero.
Yes.
And the moment where Kane was like, "You're the naysayer who thinks it can't be done." Like, Arthur, you're the problem here. You're the people who think I can't do it. And you not believing in me is such a fucking bummer, dude. Like, if you would just get with the program, you could see how good I could make things for you and for everybody. And like, I love villains who, like, to me, it's so real to have a villain who thinks they're the hero because everyone thinks they're the hero. People don't always, okay, rarely in life will you ever meet somebody who knows they're doing bad and thinks it's okay to be doing that bad without having a really good reason
Absolutely.
for it. Like, they truly think they're doing the right thing, or that what they are going to destroy is worth the cost to get to a greater good.
Right.
And they just think you don't get it. And that's always the dividing line between heroes and villains that I love, and those dynamics is you just do not understand what I'm trying to do, and once I do what I need to do, you're going to see that I was right. And that feeling comes across in Kane so strongly, and it comes across more strongly for me in this episode than it did in The Wager.
Yes.
The Wager felt like an explanation.
Right.
This feels like
justification.
Yeah. Yes.
And Autumn in the chat says, it's like being a kid and trying to explain something you think is simple to adults who just aren't listening. And I love that.
Yes.
I love that vibe where it's like Kane is like, you are so small brained, like you just don't get it. I'm doing such a cool thing. Why won't you just do what I need you to do so we can do this cool thing, Arthur?
Yeah, I love that Kane gets a little bit childish whenever he's talking to Arthur.
Yes.
And he's like, has to, almost like you're getting the impression that he's really dumbing things down because Arthur is just way too fucking stupid to get it.
Yeah.
What was your stick?
Well, before we get to my stick, I want to share a little baby carrot that I had, and I know a little baby carrot that you had that we can share together.
Okay.
So one of my little baby carrots was, if you listen with headphones, which you should always listen to Malevolent with headphones at least once, because there's so much wonderful space in the soundscaping. But if you're listening with headphones during the like Norman Rockwell Christmas scene, you can hear distant carolers, and just that little like attention to detail that just sells the sweetness of that scene. Yeah, John got it right. It's heart-wrenching. I love it.
I love it. If you, by the way, for those who may not know, Norman Rockwell is a very famous painter. Go and look it up. You've definitely seen a Norman Rockwell. It's just, you don't know it because you probably don't know the name. But yes, I caught the carolers. I particularly loved that scene is not physically fucking possible. The one that Kane conjured up. Because it's so... To me, it was immediately transparent because my rules-centered brain is like, oh, that couldn't happen. Like, those people can't all be in the same room together. Right. Silly Kane, did you think I was going to think this was real? Well, no, it didn't turn out to mean that I needed to believe it was real. The point was that it was illusion. Right. Now I'm regretting my vote, but we'll talk about that later.
And then the baby carrot that we share is the fucking incredible sound effects and like a driving beat as Arthur's ramping up on his speech. Fuck.
The fucked up strings that like get dragged through the mud in Arthur's monologue saying fuck you to Kane. Just, it hurts my teeth in the best way. I love it. I wish Rose were here. I don't know if there's a particular set of strings that have been ruined in this juncture, or if it's just generic strings or what.
Right. I just had to mention those two little sound things because they were just so fucking cool.
Yeah, Oakley says it's violence. That was my guess, but I didn't want to. I don't know for sure, but I loved it. I thought that the way that Harlan places music and sound effects, and even not just full music tracks, but just beats, it just works so well under all of his dialogue. You can, again, really tell that he studied film because it's very cinematic.
Very cinematic, yeah.
What was your stick?
Oh, man. Why is Kane hiding his face?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about
Oh
it.
man. So like the implications of Kane not showing his face right now, I'm just like vibrating. I need to know why. And
Don't worry about it.
there have been a lot of theories that this is maybe a test, that this is maybe the manager who is, you know, testing to see whether Arthur is gonna make it in the real final showdown, but I don't know. I don't know.
I loved it. I also say don't worry about it as a response to people asking me questions I don't want to answer all the fucking time. So in particular, this line, like I was pumping my fist in my seat, like, don't worry about it. It's not your fucking business, Arthur. Don't worry about it. I was so happy about that. But yeah, it's terrifying. I don't like that. I don't like that Kane has to hide anything.
Also on my like second and third listen, I was like, what the fuck is going on with Kane thinking that the odds of killing Azathoth are better than 1 and 2, better than a coin flip? And why does he give Arthur the coin? Ugh.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that were not getting answered in this chapter that I don't love. I think it's particularly interesting to note that this is Kane hiding his face, and he's a shapeshifter that can be whatever he wants.
Yeah.
So that means he's either not Kane and trying to hide an imperfection like a fucking fucked up ditto,
Right?
he's got something wrong with him. Like something he's done has fucked him up to the point where he can't do what he used to do. Like maybe Kane isn't at his full power right now. Maybe he did something with his ritualistic objects that permanently fucked over whatever his abilities are in a way that shows him disfigured in some way. Maybe
Queen, that's so big brained. Ooh, that's so cool. What a cool idea.
I think there are so many possibilities. It's truly anyone's guess, but I love the theories that are floating around that it's a test, that it's not Kane, that it's the manager, that it's Lilith, there's so many different responses, but my first thought was he's hiding a weakness, because why
that's so interesting.
Wouldn't he just shapeshift to fix whatever that is?
Yeah.
Why does he have to hide his face? Does that mean he can't transform anymore? Is he somehow hindered or hobbled and he can't do something to fix what's visually wrong with him?
Oh, maybe I like this theory.
Maybe the Blackstone corrupted him in some way?
This theory. I'm on board.
Okay, sweet. I've got you on board. Now watch me be proven hilariously wrong.
It's a cool-ass idea regardless.
The public is probably shouting at me right now. The fuck are you on, Queen, you idiot? Well, you know what? We haven't heard the next 15 minutes of the show yet, so give me a break.
What was your stick this week, Queen?
Furrow.
Yeah.
My stick was Furrow.
Yeah. That was a real bummer.
I don't like this.
That was a real bummer.
I think we were having such a good time with Kane, and then Furrow had to come in and ruin my good time.
Yeah.
No, I in particular have been dreading Baby Torment Nexus for a long time. And I also have been like so anxious about, since we made the choice with Lilith letting Arthur keep the memory of Furrow, I knew that had to have payoff.
Oh, for sure.
The fact that Arthur had to say, I need to keep this, and Lilith had to say, he's going to use it against you and you have to be able to resist that. And then Arthur's like, I can't let it go. And then he gets to keep it. Well, this is, that has to come bite you in the ass eventually. You asked for this. And so I knew it was coming, and I know it probably will get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
But I don't like it. I don't like it. I wish that Arthur could cover his glowing weak spot a little bit more, but I know we kind of asked for this.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as I should have seen this coming, it still blindsided me. I don't know why. I think that the idea of Harlan depicting in audio format the actual moment of Furrow's death and Arthur having to interact with that was so heartbreaking that I just didn't imagine it. I put it out of my mind. I was like, I'm not gonna think about that. That's really sad. And now I just have to sit here and look at it.
Ugh, it's a lot. And yeah, I think seeing it coming or not, it hurt really bad for everybody. Nobody liked
Nobody liked
that.
that.
Um, but that was, I mean, for me, it was the dread in knowing that we were going to get it, and now the execution of that, and knowing it's probably not even over.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not looking forward to having to come back next chapter. Actually, I want to skip through the first couple minutes and not go through all that.
Yeah. Yeah. But Pie in the chat says, speak for yourself. That's what I was laughing at.
I was wondering why I'm talking about a baby drowning and you're giggling in the corner, but I just figured it was chat.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I am not really looking forward to the next couple of minutes, but I am so interested to see what happens next still.
Aren't we always? Aren't we always? And what happens next depends largely on the vote. So should we talk about the vote?
Let's talk about the vote.
Okay, so this week's vote was 293. Let Go versus Hold On. Might be a familiar vote, but it's the same one again. 44% in favor of Let Go, with 56% in favor of Hold On, with 455 votes total.
Wow.
And we are recording on a Friday night.
Wow, it pulled ahead to 56%? Holy shit.
It did. So the story of this vote, as it goes, is that it was like an 80-20 Let Go.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, it's completely flipped. And I am so proud that you guys flipped it. Regardless of whether or not it's the right choice, I love flips. I think it's amazing. I think people who say we can't flip anymore have been proven wrong time and time again.
Yes.
And as long as I'm here, we will continue to prove them wrong, because you can do anything, damn it.
If there's no more flips, then Queen is dead.
If there's no more flips, I am dead. For sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
I was watching this vote be really, really close. Like every time I popped my head into poll chat, people were shouting about how it was 49-51, 50-50. Oh no, it's 50-50 again. And just like watching the people looking at the vote counter and counting the individual votes, it was very tense for a couple of days.
Yes, because important to note that there is an extension or a code that you can run in, I think it's Google Chrome or Firefox, where you can actually see how many people exactly voted for each side. But that's only really helpful for patrons, because Harlan doesn't see that shit. He only looks at the percentages. So when it's 50-50, we're all kind of examining the actual numbers to see how many people we need to move it a percentage point on Patreon, which rounds down, I believe.
Yes.
So we are kind of constantly checking the small numbers so that we can get the big number to go up. And this one sat at 50-50 for quite some time, which was very nerve-wracking, although less nerve-wracking now that there's no punishments for that.
Right.
Still trying to avoid ties, because I think 50-50 takes away the choice from everybody,
lame.
which isn't
It's
fun.
lame.
So, yeah.
I have to shout out Hello Nerdman in the chat says, I have a Grackle theory that next week's vote will also be Let Go versus Hold On, and I vibe with that. I think that all of the votes for this part are going to be Let Go versus Hold On.
Man, that would be very cool. That would send a shiver down my spine.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really cool.
What did you vote?
My instinct was Hold On, because I couldn't, when I first sat after finishing the episode after it dropped, and I was sitting with Arthur, like trying to rescue his drowning daughter, the idea of telling him to let go was so like viscerally uncomfortable to me. I was like, it's gotta be Hold On. It's gotta be.
I will be honest in that I don't fully remember what I started out voting.
I don't think you told me.
But I've been Hold On. I rarely tell you.
That's true.
But we hilariously, we rarely discuss the vote. But I don't really remember where I started. I do remember very shortly after the poll actually dropped, I got really firm and Hold On. And as of today's re-listen, I've started to regret
Really?
it. So
why?
We'll see.
Why? Why are you regretting it now?
So my all of my original thoughts about Hold On were very rooted in a sentimentality and an emotional pull that I feel is still pretty strong. But it's also really hard for me as a very logical person to accept that it's okay to just have an emotional vote. And so my brain heard a lot of thoughts in a lot of lines in the chapter where they're talking about the substance of an illusion, and the fact that Arthur is presented with an illusion of happiness and rejects it, and then is presented with an illusion of pain
Mm.
and plays into it,
Mm.
seems a little bit weird to me. And maybe it should have been let go, because if he just said it's an illusion, it doesn't matter to this Norman Rockwell Christmas scene. And Kane's whole point is you can say that, except when it tugs on your heartstrings in a bad way. And look, I'm going to make you hold on to this. Like, I don't know. It just seems like maybe that the Christmas scene was a setup to tell us how to vote for this scene. And I know that that is a way more logical connection to draw than an emotional one, because I will say, like, my arguments for Hold On have been very strongly rooted in, I actually want to read out the thing that I said because I think it's more eloquent than I've been in a long time about a vote. And it's not very complicated, but it is how I feel, and I feel like it's something. So what I said was, whether this is Kane the manager, Lilith, a mysterious third party, doesn't matter. Whether this is a real Pharaoh or an illusion also does not matter. That doesn't change the physical actions that are going to take place in this bathroom next. Kane is going to do whatever he wants, no matter what Arthur chooses. Both options will result in mocking at minimum. Knowing that, how could I not vote Hold On?
Mm.
I see a loved one about to die. No, I'm not strong enough to somehow ignore that. I don't care if it's fake or not. And I think maybe that's the point. Yeah, Arthur can't be unmoved by this scene, no matter the logic that might help chase away the reaction if he considered it. But what's humanity without falling for everything that proves we care? That we care is the point. And I still like
Yeah.
that. I like that
Yeah.
argument. I still feel like that holds water. But I'm so in my head now about the fact that this chapter, half of it was about the idea that an illusion has such power over you that it can make you do things you otherwise wouldn't, or make you make decisions against your better judgment.
That's true, but I don't think that that necessarily means that Arthur should let go in this moment. I think that you are absolutely correct that the rest of this episode is really teaching us the impact of illusion, but I think that, like you were saying in your words from earlier this week, Queen said that it doesn't matter if it's illusion or reality. I think that Arthur has to react to this situation the way that he would react if it was real. You know what I mean?
That's fair. And I mean, then again, what are we doing if not having really big feelings over an illusion in this podcast?
Right.
Like, this is all fake. And we are here talking for an hour a week, crying about it, making friends about it.
I believe it was the season 5 Q&A. Harlan canonically said, none of this is real. So
none of this is real.
Just a reminder that the creator of Malevolent has confirmed none of this is real.
Well, let's listen to some voice notes, shall we?
Yeah, our first submission is going to be an email.
Okay.
Our first submission tonight is from Fractals, and A says, "Hi Autopsy, it's Fractals, and I use AM and its pronouns. Before I talk about the vote, I want to talk about the one line I noticed when rereading the transcript. Kane says, 'Can't have you putting that lighter on me just yet, not until I know what it does.' But it's implied that he hears the conversation with Lilith when they arrive in Addison, and possibly the ones in the Dreamlands. And during that conversation, she explains it to Arthur. So does her simplistic version not give enough information for Kane to work it out with? Or can he tell that the version of the plan that Arthur and John and maybe Lilith know is false?" So, onto the vote. This vote is Horrifying. It's a hard choice, and there are so many things to think about, but I'm voting hold on. I don't think it will necessarily go well, but I think it's the best choice for Arthur. Our choices help shape who he is as a character, and I don't want him to be someone who would let a kid drown, regardless if it's real or if it's even Thoreau. It's also a point of difference between him and Cain, and the key aspect of his humanity. And even if this is what the manager was talking about, he is not necessarily correct, nor can he necessarily understand that this is a very human thing. So I'm voting hold on because it's what I want for Arthur as a character. I want him to try and save Thoreau, even if she will die. He needs to hope. He needs to hold on. Bye!
Thank you, Fractals, for your submission. You make a great point. I do think that it's interesting that we are given, like, Cain is the one who is putting this horrifying scene in front of Arthur and then making fun of him for having a reaction. It's a very stark contrast between what a god must think of humans and what humans actually are.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And, it very much feels more like Cain knows the make Arthur sad button rather than he's, like, challenging him for character growth, or trying to see if he can be stronger than this. I think that Cain cares about that so much as he cares about manipulating Arthur. And despite that, I think that it's important to Arthur's humanity that he doesn't lose sight of that entirely. And yeah, Cain would mock him if he did the sort of quote-unquote heartless thing of letting go. I don't know.
Oh my fucking god. Okay, firstly, hi, hello. It's autumn, and I'm going to need the next 3 to 5 working days to recover from Arthur calling Cain sweetie. Holy fucking god, there's so much good food for me here. Anyways, okay, to the episode. I'm once again cackling over how the Part 50 gang got their less than 5 minutes of fame before being splattered. I mean, they really can't catch a break. And now to the vote. Oh, Jesus, fuck me blind, or well, don't, because I suppose I am already. But, oh my god, Arthur can let go of everything. His life, his friends, but Thoreau? It fucking hurts, and I can't. He can't lose the only reason he's fighting. I mean, remember back to when he had to lie to the king, pretending he let go of Thoreau. Does that not suggest him holding on to her as vitally important? But this could also be another one of Cain's tricks. I mean, who's to say it even is her? And what if letting go is letting go of the guilt and not just her memory as a whole? The idea that Arthur could have gone back and saved her, because yes, technically he could have, but he didn't, and that's just the fact of it. And there's no use wallowing in the past when you can take your experiences and use them to guide your future. Your past is supposed to shape you, not drown you. Ugh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but for consistency's sake, I'm gonna vote to let go again. Anyways, I'm sure I'll regret this next week, but here's hoping. Have a good autopsy.
Thank you, Autumn, for your submission. I'm so happy for you. I know the Cain enjoyers, me being one of them, are thriving right now.
Yeah, and I do hear what you're saying about consistency, especially if the Grackle theory that all of the votes are going to be let go versus hold on. I wonder, and this is even further grackling, I wonder if we set a course by making our first vote let go. I don't know.
I think it's so fascinating that consistency even matters because, like, I personally see Malevolent as such a show that that showcases the inconsistencies of humanity, the hypocrite, the gray areas that I wouldn't expect all of the votes to be the same because it is going to change moment to moment. Like, if we're talking about letting go of Thoreau's memory, no, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. If we're talking about letting go of the guilt of killing, being responsible for his daughter's death, yeah, he should let that go. That's not serving him. So it just depends.
Well, and I guess, Cain did bring up the point that he is wondering if he can get different answers from the same question.
Yeah.
I did have one more image pop into my head during Autumn's message for some reason.
Oh god.
of instead of like pulling Thoreau out, it turns out it's just Cain again.
No, it's a baby with Cain's face.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit. That's deep.
I mean,
terrible. That's not
that's
funny.
one of my favorite like shapeshifter like chaotic entity like gags is the, oh, I'm over here, oh, now I'm this person, oh, I'm over here.
That's terrible. That's horrible. Oh my
Okay.
god.
Okay.
Taliesin, he, him. So at first I was voting let go, because while I know Arthur would want to hold on for everything he's worth, we've been told that Cain would pull this, and we said we wouldn't fall for it. They want us to let go of her memory specifically for this reason. And to me, my brain just said that this was the cost of not letting go of her memory. However, then I was swayed to a very flimsy hold on, and now I am very firmly hold on, because I remembered one key argument in my defense of hold on to Faroe in the Dreamlands, and it's for my trademark topic, narrative foils. Cain will lose because he has nothing to hold on to. He has no love for anything, nothing to defend. Arthur has moved on from letting his guilt eat at him, and that's why we were able to convince Lilith to let us keep our memories of Faroe. And because Faroe is a strength. She, whether ours or the Faroe of another timeline, is Arthur's biggest driving force to protecting the world from Cain ending it as we know it. Fighting for her, real or illusion, is not a distraction. It is just who Arthur is. And ultimately, I think it will work in the reverse of what Cain wants. He thinks trying to torture Faroe will weaken us, but instead it will give Arthur that strength to persevere, to fight back, teeth bared and claws ready. Because that is ultimately who he is. It is his care and his love that makes him fight.
Thank you for the submission, Taliesin.
That is such a good point. Pull out the Arthur Lester dad strength. That's what we need to defeat Cain with.
Well, I think it's interesting that we talk about Cain not having anything to hold on to, because I think in pretty typical villain fashion, people who don't have anything left to lose are the most dangerous and the most powerful, because they don't have a weak spot. They don't have like a thing you can manipulate to get them to do what you want, because they truly are just hanging on to whatever their ideal is, whatever their goal is, and they'll do anything to get that back, and they don't care what you do to stop them. And that's what makes the hero overcoming the villain so satisfying.
Exactly.
Because you did have something at stake and you still won.
Yeah.
You know, you were able to overcome. But I think with Cain, it's so interesting, because you also have the manager who also doesn't really have any, like, he lost his daughter. Supposedly he loved her, and the killing of her was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And now what does he have? Is he trying to use the other Lilith to replace her? And you could say that's what he's holding on to. Do we even think the manager is any better than Cain right now?
I don't know, man. Thinking about the manager makes my brain hurt. I don't have enough information.
I'm fascinated. I love a guy who has some rules and runs a restaurant. I am so into the manager. Would you like me to read this next email for you?
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Zill. No, I'm not, but I'm reading this for Zill. I use she, they pronouns, and I am voting hold on. Okay, listen so hard right now. For all intents and purposes, that is Arthur's daughter. Either an illusion or a version of her, whatever it is, she feels so very real, and she is drowning. While yes, there is reason to try and not let Cain get to Arthur, he can manipulate Arthur and whatever the fuck. I'm not thinking about Cain. I'm worried about Arthur. This man has already heard a description of his daughter getting shot. He is now experiencing a still alive daughter drowning. I don't want him to push through with letting her go because it will beat Cain. I don't want Arthur to experience his daughter drowning again and not fight to stop it, even if it will inevitably fail. Fuck that. Even if she gets taken from him, if he holds on, he went out fighting. It is Cain's fault she's drowning, not Arthur's. But there is more room to blame himself if he lets go. There is more room for rage and punching Cain in the face if he holds on. Thank you for reading my rambling, with a very cute little kitty face emoji. Thank you for your submission, Zill.
Yeah, thanks for submitting, Zill. I feel like we haven't heard from you in a while on Autopsy, and it's good to hear from you. And I think that you're very aligned with my like heartfelt, instinctive response after listening to the chapter, that like Arthur, the only thing that Arthur can do is hold on and try to save his daughter.
I don't know, though.
Your doubt is very distressing, Queen.
It's just so what what if this isn't right? What if this isn't the right move?
I know.
What if we're putting too much into it?
I know. But it feels right in my heart. It feels wrong in my heart to let go. But that sentimentality may bite me in the ass. I know that. I know that. But I'm accepting it.
There's so many different lessons in Malevolent. It's so hard sometimes to tell which one I should be applying to the vote. And like, especially this one, yes, of course, like my heart is with Hold On, but it just feels like if I were watching a movie, and this was all happening in front of me, how would I feel if I'm watching the character hold on to an illusion of his daughter drowning? And what happens next?
Yeah.
What is gonna happen on Monday when the new chapter drops and Arthur doesn't let go and he's just sitting there fruitlessly trying to keep his daughter alive, potentially forever. Like, Kane could trap him in a torment nexus of Faro drowning and Arthur forever trying to save her.
Man.
Because he just won't let go.
That's,
like, I'm not saying that's
a hell of
actually
a
going to happen. Malevolent has to
nexus.
keep going. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Malevolent has to keep going, blah, blah, blah. The meta tells us that's not going to happen. But the point I'm making is, like, where do you go when it doesn't work? Like, Kane technically won this one. Kane got what he wanted, which is to show Arthur that he can be manipulated through this means of his daughter's memory that Arthur was so desperate to hold on to, that Arthur said he had to hold on to, and Lilith outright told him this was going to happen, and look, she was right. How does Arthur overcome this? How do you get up after this? I'm so unsure.
I know. I just have to hold on to the fact that I think, like, the narrative and you know, wise characters within the show have implied or outright said that, like, Arthur's humanity will save us and will save him. So I don't know. That's what I'm holding. That's what I'm holding on to. I'm holding on to Arthur's humanity.
Okay, well, this next submission, I'm begging you to make me feel better. I'm begging you to make me feel better.
Pi, she, her. If what Kane needs is information, what purpose is there in not just sticking Arthur in a blender until he squeals? He needs something else out of him. What he has done is remind Arthur of the time he thought his life would be better if John was never in it, and then showed them that projection of a life. Why is Kane still trying to drive that wedge between them? Bone Citadel didn't work. That was the magnum opus of trying to break them up. Why is he still going at it? Does he not want Arthur to rely on anyone? Or does he need him to not trust John? If Kane has only overheard what has been said on Earth, what he knows about letting go is that John asked it of Arthur, and even Lilith understood better than him. Why would he emphasize something that puts Lilith and Arthur's mind above John? John tried to stop him from getting in the tub. John will not let Arthur drown, but I don't want him to have to pull him out. Her head isn't above water. That's not changing. Nothing Arthur has ever done in his reoccurring nightmare has ever changed that. He has always clung to her, and I cannot fault him. But I think this is a pattern Kane doesn't want him to break.
Pi, you did not make me feel better. You in fact made me feel worse. God damn it. Thank you for your submission, but god damn it.
With all the submissions to come in your moment of doubt. Oopsie.
Oh my fucking god. I mean, you're so fucking right. And the fact that Kane is still trying to drive a wedge between Arthur and John is bewildering to me. I do not understand
what
it.
is going on with that.
What the fuck John even has to do with the end of Malevolent? Because right now it feels like he's completely irrelevant. and I am not saying that he's not everyone's favorite baby. I'm just saying that, like, Arthur is the one that everyone's focused on, and so I have to wonder why it matters so much to everybody to Cain,
Yes.
that John isn't part of this picture.
Yeah, I don't know. That was something very notable about the whole, like, Norman Rockwell scene and John not being there and it being supposedly what would have happened if he never opened that book. And I'm wondering what psychological game Cain is getting at with kind of reminding John that, like, oh, this is all your fault somehow.
And, like, wouldn't it be perfect if this was how Cain proved Arthur will make the same mistake, and if John isn't there to save him, he's fucked?
Yeah.
And, like, wouldn't this be the great time for Arthur to show that he can let go without John's constant intervention? And wouldn't this be the time to show that even if they are separated, Arthur is still able to do this? Oh, God damn it. God damn it. Maybe we should have voted let go. God damn it.
I mean,
Harlan, if you're listening back to this, I'm trying so hard to play the game. I just don't know how yet. It's been almost 2 years and I'm still
don't
learning.
know. Still don't know how to play the game.
Fuck. Okay. We have an email next again.
Yes.
Would you like to do this one?
Our next submission is an email from Nukuome. Hi, Nukuome, pronouns he, it. Just writing in before I forget, but I think Hold On should win, or at least that's what I'm voting for. I just think if we didn't let go of Thoreau before, why should we now? Unless there is a different thing we're choosing to let go or hold on to. Maybe before we chose to hold on to the memories of Thoreau, whereas now this is a choice of holding on to the guilt? I don't know. It might not be, but either way, I'm holding on to that fake baby. Have a great autopsy, y'all.
Thanks, Nukuome, for your submission.
Gotta hold on to that fake baby. I'm shutting out all of the let go arguments. I'm sorry, let go voters. I have to shut it out. I have to wholeheartedly believe that hold on is the right answer, even though you guys are making some good points. I'm holding on to that fake baby with Nukuome.
Why didn't I have these thoughts before this show started?
That's what this show's for.
It's too late for a flip.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Don't say it's too late for a flip. It's never too late for a flip.
Okay. Let's just listen to the next voice message. Maybe it'll make me feel better.
It's Oakly, he, they. Thoreau is the light. She's everything that defines the Arthur Lester we know, from his greatest joys to his deepest shame. The story has an emphasis on Arthur healing from that guilt by moving forward, but not by letting go completely. She is what motivates him to stay alive. In part 12, he steeled his mind against the King in Yellow's attempt at erasing him through the memory of her death. In part 18, he did the same. Cain lured him in part 20 with her music box. Her voice goaded him on through the snow of Coda. He went into the light in part 56 in the hopes of being with her again, and in part 58, he refused to let go of her and cried out against the arrogance of the gods to dare ask that of him. If Arthur wants to survive this encounter with Cain, he cannot let go of his baby. Cain is giving him this choice in an attempt to break him. We have to prove that Arthur's need to carry that fire, that his humanity is going to win out. It doesn't matter if the fire goes out in the end. What matters is that he tried to save it when given the choice to try again. I refuse to let Cain win. Furthermore, I refuse to let these eldritch entities take Thoreau away from Arthur in service of a greater cause, whether that be for good or evil. Even if it pulls Arthur under or ends in the horrific way I'm sure it will, the physical act of holding on to his daughter matters because it shows that he's trying. Letting her go now, I feel, would be letting Cain win. Hold on.
Thanks for your submission.
Banger of a submission, Oakly. We love to see those receipts. Very, very nice.
I just think it proves the opposite.
Listen to Oakly. Oakly makes such a good point. Oakly makes such a good point.
I feel like holding on to her now is the letting Cain win option. Now I'm worried that is the point that Cain is trying to make, and we are proving it. We are proving that every time Thoreau comes up, Arthur will go and bite, and that is normal, I guess. But in terms of like the whole fact that there won't be a world that I don't know. I don't know that we did the right thing here.
Queen,
but you know what?
Queen, I'm so sorry that your own podcast has thrown you into a tailspin. Maybe we should talk about the vote more often during the week before Autopsy.
Well, you know what? This is why the vote matters. I just want to say, you may be hearing this in real time right now, listener. This is how it is in my brain 24/7 about almost everything. So don't worry. This is normal for me. You're just hearing it.
Yeah. As Queen's best friend can confirm.
But I have to wonder, is it more of a fuck you to hold on to her and to pretend that there's any way we could save her or that this is real? Or is it more of a fuck you to say, I can accept that this happened and that I cannot change or fix it anymore, and you will not manipulate me using my own guilt against me?
Stop making sense, Queen. Stop making sense. I'm not listening. Arthur's humanity.
It doesn't have to be anti-humanity to accept that something bad has happened that you cannot fix or change. In fact, I would argue that should be where Arthur is in his journey. In fact, I would say that's been pretty solidly where he's at this whole time. Damn it. Fuck. All right. We should probably end the
show. Wrap it up. Pack it in. I guess maybe we're going to have a flip campaign this weekend. I don't know.
I just 56-44 with 457 votes cast right now. I think that's possible, but oh man, guys, it's also really hard to argue against people who are so deeply rooted in the sentimentality of the vote as it pertains to like the concept of what I described in my own argument for Hold On, which isn't the point that we care.
Right.
I think it's really hard to argue to flip this kind of a vote because it's very feelings-based.
Absolutely. And it's always whenever it comes down to the feelings-based votes that have a lot of sentimentality, it's very difficult to debate with logic.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
I just want to shout out Pi in the chat who says there is no fuck you right now. So either way, we're not going to get a fuck you over Kane.
I mean, maybe you don't think there's a fuck you, but it would feel very fuck you. There is a way to fuck you. There's always a way to say fuck you. I think that for me, it's very much like we have such a... When I was originally casting for Hold On, we have such a zoomed out perspective on this as a story. If we were in the situation ourselves, we wouldn't have that perspective. Right. And sure, that's kind of where I'm at with Hold On, as far as like, if I ignore the fact that there are greater stakes and I imagine myself having to watch like my baby brother or whatever drown, of course I am going to fall for that. But is that what we're supposed to take away in this fictional story? Is that what we're supposed to be doing? God, I could go on forever about this, so I won't. God damn
Good
it.
autopsy.
Anyway,
good autopsy, everyone.
Good autopsy. Good autopsy where I lose my shit again. It's 293. We're so close to the end of Malevolent. This is going to happen multiple times.
I know. I was just thinking right before autopsy, I was like, wait, did I write the wrong number on the submissions today? It's chapter 283, right? Nope. It's 293.
No, it's so... I've been penciling out the numbers for the last few episodes of Malevolent that we get to cover on Autopsy, and it is so freaky. I do not like it. To be clear, Autopsy's not going anywhere. We still have stuff to cover even after Malevolent Season 6 is over, so you won't get away from me. But
no, we're just getting started.
Very weird. It's very weird and unsettling to write things like, okay, that's the end of the spreadsheet since that's Malevolent 60. So, anyway, guys, it has been an honor, a pleasure, a delight to be here with you all and to go through this fucking torment of a vote.
The torment nexus is escaping containment.
The torment nexus is the polls.
Yes. Affectionately called
So I think we'll
the
end it there.
torment nexus.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, of course, to Harlan Guthrie, the sole creator of Malevolent. Without his labor of love for a story he wants to tell, we wouldn't be here. To join the live recording, submit your own message, get in touch with me, and more, visit linktree/Malevolent Autopsy. The official Invictus Discord server is open to the public and includes a channel just for Malevolent Autopsy fans. We also have our own private, patrons-only channel. Finally, thank you to Mizra, Nikki, Vol Control, and everyone who has helped create and maintain Malevolent Autopsy. These friends are also volunteers who donate time and energy to help put together this love letter to Malevolent. Remember, in the end, it's never about certainty. It's about making a choice and moving forward. Until next time, the horrors persist.
But so do we.